extra moment and say, really, thanks for letting me make you my guinea pig, then do it. That's perfectly fine. Let's talk briefly about the two-handed. Lindsay, someone did a two-handed. I don't remember. And I'm thinking you knew the person. It was a female to female, and I'm thinking you knew the person.
It was Kristen.
But be careful about two-handed shakes. Okay, sometimes it seems affected. Sometimes people from other cultures might read something into it, and you want to be culturally and gender neutral in business these days. Okay, so you want to offend the least people. Right here, I just finished telling you that manners is about kindness. Manners is about not offending people. Actually, it's about offending the least people. I just wrote a piece about this. Because you will offend somebody. You know, that's the bottom line. We will offend somebody. We don't want to. We will all make faux pas. We will all goof up, and we will offend somebody. But you want to try to offend as few people as possible. So that's why you're gender neutral and you're culturally as neutral as you can be. And that's another reason not to do the two-handed shake, because it could be misinterpreted by some other culture. Okay? Okay, questions at this point? Observations? Anything uncomfortable? I know I pushed one person outside of her comfort zone a little, and you were lovely to let me do that. Thank you. If I make you uncomfortable, please tell me. If I mispronounce your name, ditto, as we just discussed. What we are going to talk about is this is the overview of what I want you to take away, and then I'm sending you with a piece I just did for some magazine, I can't remember which one, about quick tips for being powerful today and connecting with people. So we talked to some people, and I talked about, in some groups, about confident posture. Your shoulders should be back, but not in a forced way. Your chest more, it's better to say your chest should be up. Your dress, coordinated, you guys all look fabulous. Great grooming, needless to say, confident meeting, greeting, and handshake. And that's why I'm trying to push you outside of your comfort zone. I want you to know how to enter a room. When you come into a room and you truly don't know anybody, which I have done at 3 functions recently in the last month, and I knew 1 or 2 people, huge events. What I want you to do is this. I want you to enter the room, take a deep breath. Sammy should be here to hear this. Take a deep breath and do what Jackie Onassis did. She would stand to the right of the doorway, and she would survey her room before she just barged right in. So what I don't want you to do, and one of the reasons we did a mocktail hour, is I don't want you to run to the bar when there's a bar. I know there are bars. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to come in. It's not about the alcohol or the, sodas or whatever we're doing. It's about connecting with people. So I want you to come in and resist the urge to go straight to the drinks bar, because that makes people comfortable, because they can do something with their hands. So resist that the next time you go out. Make yourself do it. And instead, stand there, watch for a group with open posture. Now, I actually approached a group with not open posture, and I met you, Cody. Yeah. Thank you. And it was not open, but I really wanted to meet you because we were wrapping it up. Okay, but I hardly ever do that. I really wouldn't do that in a function. I'm looking for someone whose posture is like this. Standing in a group, maybe hip into the group and the other hip out. That's open posture. If someone looks as if they're gossiping or is telling, some torrid detail of their life, then they're obviously not open, and you want to move on to a different group. So you want to find a group. Maybe you know someone, maybe you don't. Maybe it's a connection you want to make. Okay? It's the chairman of the board. It's the chair of the alumni council. Find someone you want to meet, and then approach that group and do exactly what we all did. I saw you doing the same thing, because your mission was to shake hands. And when it's open, say, "Excuse me, I don't think I've met you." Okay? And that really feels vulnerable at first, but that's why I want you to practice it. And we will do this again towards the end of the meeting. Practice makes perfect, and for you all to feel comfortable, you just have to practice it. Same thing with handshakes. I seriously want you guys to handshake. The next time you're at a council dinner, shake hands coming and going, and just keep doing it, and record when you screw up. I naturally do it now. I don't always have a perfect handshake, and I know immediately when I'm not, whatever, I'm distracted, I haven't followed my own rule, whatever it is. But do the self-monitoring that will make you a powerful handshaker. And trust me, it pays off in dividends. People remember you. When you make that contact, when you have eye contact, people will remember your name. Okay, briefly, remembering names. Try to say the name, okay? So when I met Stephen, I don't think I did it with you, Stephen, because I said something about your tag, but I tried to say, Stephen, it's nice to meet you. You have a higher probability that you're going to retain that if you do it, okay? Last thing about handshakes, so important, especially for women, stand. Please never, ever, ever, I don't care where you are, unless you're hemmed in a corner at a table and you literally physically cannot stand, always stand. It's very powerful and it's respectful, and trust me, people notice it. But for people to say, I did this lecture to a huge group, 1,000-member law firm in Washington, D.C. last month. And the head of the law firm, the oldest member, he had been there for 47 years or something, came in a little late. He'd been at a funeral, which is, I cut him a little slack because he'd been at a funeral. Maybe he was upset, who knows. But he was at the table. I walked up and said, excuse me, I don't think I've met you. And I put my hand out, and he sat. What I'd like you to do in this case is to push your chair out, stand up, and say, no, I haven't. I don't think I've met you. Susan, now, grab the web, okay, good. Susan Bitterslum, nice to meet you, thanks. And he didn't, he sat. So I'm thinking maybe it was because it was a funeral, whatever. There were probably extenuating circumstances. I'm sure he was a very powerful person, but I did not perceive him that way. So if you want people to perceive you as power, and I'm sorry to be sexist about this, but I do see more women not seeing power than men, then stand, always, always, always. Okay, any questions? Anyone disagree? Okay. Happens at functions a lot, so be aware of that. Where someone comes up to your table, oh gosh, I didn't know you were here, and it's so much easier to just sit there. Okay. Push out, stand, face them, square on, and shake a hand. Okay. All right. I think we're going to start the dinner now. And
I just had a quick question. I feel like a lot of times when people like sit down, like they'll grab their napkin and put it on their lap. Like,
thank you. I'm back to host duties. I got off my my format here. Guest duties. As guests, your job is to be charming, to interact with as many people as possible, and to be appreciative and grateful and happy. You know, to enjoy yourself. A grumpy guest, I'm sorry, it doesn't work for me. So that's your job as a guest. As a host, well, as a guest also, your job is to wait for my cues, okay? So when I sit down, whether it's here or whether it's here, and I move my table to my napkin to my lap, that's when you do it, okay? Otherwise, you can keep it on the table. Now, when you do it, let's just talk about napkin etiquette now. This is important. I want you to know, I've been to 2 huge functions in Washington in the last month. One was the heart ball, and the other one was the leukemia ball. And we were at like the chairman's tables. These were like some of the most powerful people, right? Both times, someone grabbed my napkin at the heart ball, and I think it was the leukemia ball, or else it was a function last week at NIH. It was one of the two, and somebody took my bread plate. Someone who should have known better about bread plates. So we're going to talk about position and napkins. Napkins first. When I pick up my napkin, the host does. Unhosted, then you wait till everyone's seated and you do it. Hosted, you take your napkin underneath the table, you fold it in half. This fold goes against your waist, against your hips. Okay? The reason for that, anyone tell me? Oh, I will give you such a star if you know this. What's the reason?
So when you stand up, it doesn't open up.
Actually, that's a really good reason. I'm going to use that. That's very good. The old reason is that if you have crumbs, your crumbs go in between the folds, and you hide them. Okay? That's the. But I like that. That was very good. I'm going to incorporate that. That's great. Thank you. So the unfolded side out, fold here. Okay. BMW. Could you go to the next slide?